one really powerful mantra in this material world, which is concerned with two most powerful factors ruling everything. And what is that? Well, not mantra, but you can say slogan. But actually it is the direct reflection of the spiritual world, as Prabhupada was saying that material world is a direct reflection of the spiritual world. Anyone has an idea what is this mantra or the slogan? Most powerful slogan of this world. Anyway, you don't have to speculate. That is, time is money. Time is money, right? Everyone's concerned about it. Okay, time is money. The time I have is the money I don't have. So how do I use time to make money, right? And time is Krishna, and money is Radharani, right? Because she is the original goddess of fortune. And so it's interesting. Spiritual world, you are engaged under Srimati Radharani to serve Krishna, right? So you use wealth or opulence to please the Supreme Lord. You use fortune to please the Supreme Lord. But material world is other way around. You use the Supreme Lord in a form of time to make money, to enjoy, right? So that's why material world is exactly opposite to the spiritual world. And so yes, money walks, money talks. Yeah, again, you can do nothing about it. It's not going to change. But what can change if you think as a free person? And one type of freedom, and it's interesting that Srila Prabhupada says that real Krishna consciousness starts after the point of liberation. You have to be liberated to really engage in Krishna consciousness. And one type of conditioning is financial slavery, right? And so if you want to think if you want to be a free person, would suggest that you start thinking as a free personality. So what do we mean? Right now, you can't even think of what you would love to do if you are free to do anything you want, because you can't do that, because you are conditioned by the need to do what it takes to make your living. But imagine if you don't have that pressure and you've achieved at least one aspect of freedom, which is financial freedom. How many of you would love to be financially free in this life and not doing anything else for money anymore, right? And then you can do whatever you love doing. Okay, so we wanted, as Dronacharya Prabhu mentioned, my speciality is that I'm connecting philosophy to practice. And so this is what I wanted you to try right now. Imagine that some well-wisher comes to you and says, I want to help you to achieve financial freedom. And that's why I wanted to give you enough money so that you wouldn't have to think about the money till the rest of your life. And that's, I suppose, $10 million, right? So this is the question. If you would have $10 million at your disposal, how your life would change? Because you wouldn't have to work for money anymore, right? So you could do whatever you want in your life. And you would have plenty of spare time and even extra funds as well. So how would your life change? Yeah. How many of you have an idea? Okay. All right, then maybe what we could do for the next 10 minutes, if you want to share with the devotee next to you how would you change your life if you would have that financial freedom? What you would rather do? Yes? So, yeah, please turn to the devotee.
More we detached from not support. I'm really chanting every day 16 rounds. I will start 24 rounds or even 32 rounds, and I will try to forget what I have to do for the financial matters. So automatically Krishna will arrange for me. So, but not what how much I want, but how much I need. Krishna will give to me, and rest serve to Krishna. How he can manage for my financial matters, and I will sing Rasa.
So, I think the first thing I would do is go to India. I'd go to India, maybe to Mayapur, my Guru's base, and then I would have to. I think I would go try to be near him, but he's, my Guru's who is, having his physical condition. So I wouldn't want to go necessarily join his personal.
Same time as well.
So anyway, yeah, I think the first thing I would do is go to India, and not with any specific plan with the money immediately, but just to sort of be around him and reconnect with him and sort of hear from him or from others around what he's meditating on, trying to do for Krishna. Because, yeah, I mean, he's doing many things, but, sort of get a sense of what is most important. And then try to figure out how I could plug into that in this new way of I think that's how it works. Not immediately act, but first just go and just sort of pick up where he's focused, and then try to figure out how to plug in.
So probably here about how about your dependency?
Here I'm dependent on him.
So dependency means if you go back to India, will it impact your financial things or something? That will be okay.
You're talking about with this scenario or just in real life?
No. Real life.
If I go there,
since you are living,
they're still giving us every month, so I still use that.
they are giving.
So I don't have
So,
to.
they will not be dependent on you.
No, I'm dependent. They are by Krishna's arrangement. They have no more.
You are going to Guru Maharaj, you means you start living there and you start following Guru Maharaj and you start whatever order will be there.
Wouldn't ask for a direct order, but I would just sort of try to pick up from what he's saying and others close to him what they're saying. What is his focus? What is his he's trying to do? And then figure out how to, he's talking about somebody gives me a budget, how to plug in, just it's not go out and blasting television, but just picking up and then like what he's focusing on, what he's talking about, what he's thinking of.
Very good thinking. Really, away from the material things, what we are entangled with so many things. So your choice is very good. It may not fit, to be very honest, it may not fit to us because we have now family, kids and everybody. We have to arrange, we are dependent. It's really maybe Prabhuji will be having, Maharaj will be having some question from us, like what you extend your idea, what you understood. So after 10 minutes for the time, we will ask what is tell us to tell him about the others. What
Repeat to me again your basic thing.
what I told him to free from the accumulating I will free from that. And then Krishna will arrange for me. Krishna will arrange for me because I will start surrendering to Krishna. But Krishna will arrange what I need, not what I want.
Okay, hopefully everyone had a chance to discuss or at least contemplate on the question. And of course, in terms of questions, the most popular question after this kind of exercise, where is that man who would give me 10 million and set me free financially? Meditate on this simple thing, that very simple reason, because they wanted more than devotees. And all these people, they are using that for their sense gratification, and they don't even think of Krishna. But actually devotees should be using all this wealth for Krishna's pleasure. And if there is a will, there is a way. And there are many ways how you can connect with that possibility in your life. I mean, we have devotees who have done that already, like David Elbrook, who have done that already. Instead of working for anyone, he's running his own social, spiritual business and connecting with and utilizing hundreds of millions of dollars for Krishna's pleasure and to help people. And so you can always find the answer to that question. So as long as you are clear what is it that you want to do in life, then all the questions of knowing how can be available, but your drive, your focus should be really, really strong. And you have to be very practical and not just, thinking or pie in the sky. And that's why we're talking of being professional. And if you are interested to get a thorough training for a couple of months, this is what we are contemplating and exploring in our courses in Mayapur. innovative courses. How can you transform your life in such a way that you would be only doing what you love doing for Krishna, right? And yeah, if you're interested, you can always ask me after the class. I can provide you with more information. Of course, the conditions are that you have professional background, which means that you can interact with any kinds of people. This is what distinguishes professional from layman, right? That professional knows how to deal with all types of people. Professional means you know how to maintain proper relationships with others. And yeah, you have to be willing to take full responsibility for your life, because that's an important prerequisite in becoming successful in Krishna consciousness.
So, as like, I want to know how has your journey as a sannyasi been, and like how has your family reacted?
About my second, first and second initiation, and my father passed away some time ago, but my mother is still alive, and they're happy with that. No
But
problem.
you were a brahmachari.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's thinking.
Of course, for mother it was a little bit difficult, but yeah, I managed to convince her. Luckily, we have the same guru. David Prabhu, and then you can ask second question.
I just wanted to, you use the first purpose of ISKCON,
Yeah.
Systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons that Prabhupada came to America was because he was being compassionate to the degraded lifestyle in the Western world. It was also, his instruction from Bhakti Siddhanta. But the thing that inspired me most in the early days that Prabhupada had that compassion for us, of teaching us knowledge. And one of the problems I think we have as a society, and why we don't systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large, we touch the tiniest 0.0001% of society at large in our work is basket, and we're just sitting back going, well, I'm okay. I'm having a nice time. So I think that's one of our major obstacles of reviving that compassion in order for us to be successful at spreading that knowledge. And I think the other part of that is that for society at large, the amount of knowledge they need to change their lives is very little. They don't need the whole Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita and Rupa Goswami and the Puranas, and they don't need to know 2,000 slokas. They need some very basic, simple knowledge. I'm not that body. The eternal spirit soul. Purpose of human life is spiritual advancement, spiritual development. God's God and I'm His servant. Some very simple, and like you said, that you started your talk with religion, but in the early days, Prabhupada never presented Krishna consciousness as religion. He called it the science of Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
And really, if we simply present some simple scientific facts to society at large, I think we'll be successful because it's so common sense. We're not giving them some complicated mathematical equation that they have to get a PhD in mathematics to figure out. Most people, they can get this knowledge very simply.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's very important, and especially in the first purpose of ISKCON, it's mentioned, teach people the techniques of spiritual life, and Bhakti Tirthamara, for example, as spiritual technology, or chanting as spiritual technology, or associating with devotees as part of spiritual technology, etc. So, and of course, Prabhupada books, they provide with so many types of spiritual technologies. And for us, it's just to reframe it and present it to people in such a way that they see the practicality of it and they actually take it. There are many, many things we could do to change the society if, as David L. Prabhu said, we would get out of this, crippling religious mind frame, thinking that we are the greatest and the world have to bow down to our feet, and actually, get. Yes.
How has your journey as a brahmacharya been, and like how do you view like families? Because a lot of people, they have like this idea that you have to get like married and have kids and
Yes.
such. But I've been looking into like brahmacharya and just wanted to know your like.
That's quite rare, and most of the people need to have family life, but myself, I'm just would be a killer for me. And I think that it's really important, as Srila Prabhupada explains, to have at least some experience of brahmacharya life. He says some can be lifelong renunciates, brahmacharis, but if you cannot do that, at least do a few years, well, he says from 5 to 25, 20 years of training. If you cannot do that, at least few years, at least 1 year. Even if you cannot do that, at least do 1 month. If you cannot do even that, at least 3 days. Try it for 3 days. I think that would be interesting program for our temples, right? Be a monk, be a weekend monk. Like we have the
LA is
weekend.
doing-
Huh?
LA does that.
Oh, I already did.
Yeah,
Great.
they have, one program is a monk for a week or a weekend or
Yeah.
something, and the other, some other devotees do it as Krishna experience.
Yeah,
And I agree, that's a wonderful program.
yeah, sure. I think we are running short of time, but yeah, if you have any other questions, I'll be very happy to talk to any of you. I'm here for the next 3 days. But one thing I wanted to share with you, and that's a kind of little surprise for most of you. That's, we were talking about the first purpose of ISKCON, and it's really encouraging us to think very, very big, think globally, act locally. And Prabhupada was saying that this was always my nature. I could only think big, I could never think small. And in our school, in our training courses, we're also encouraging our students or alumni to think very big, but sometimes they think too big, and which is great. But then, last year, 2 alumni, early this year, 2 alumni of our school approached me and they said, we're thinking about this big, big project. And they shared it with me, and it was huge. It was really global. And I was thinking whether that would work at all or not, because it's super ambitious. And then I thought, okay, anyway, we're encouraging them, so I should try and help them as much as I can. And as soon as we started working on it, then the results started coming. And suddenly, out of the blue, in my work, one very old devotee approaches me and he says, I have a gift for you. And I said, what is the gift? And he said, this is Srila Prabhupada's sweater he personally wore. And I was so confused. I said, what's the reason you wanted to give it to me? He said, I had this desire that you have it. And he gave it to me, and I still had a doubt that whether it is genuine Prabhupada sweater. It's with buttons, so it's called cardigan. And it looked very simple. Normally Prabhupada would have very expensive things given to him. And I expressed my doubt to one devotee, and the other part of it is that it is ladies' cardigan. It's not even for men. And so I thought, no, this cannot be genuine, Prabhupada's. But the other devotee said, just look through Prabhupada's photos. If you find him wearing it, you will know it's genuine. So I spent 3 days looking through the photos. There are 11,000 of them in the archives on the internet. And I found 4 photos of Srila Prabhupada wearing that cardigan. And it was very early in the movement, between 69 and 71. So I've actually discovered not only that it's a genuine Prabhupada's cardigan, but, because it is already on the pictures, it looks worn out. And I cannot believe that any disciple would make such a mistake. First of all, buying kind of, cheaper type of thing. And second, it was ladies' cardigan, right? So the only possible explanation is that Srila Prabhupada bought it himself. So either he did it in India, or at the very first year when he was in New York, when he was completely alone with no support. And then I realized that, it's actually Srila Prabhupada's way to encourage us to think big and do big things for him. So, just to inspire us, he sent his personal cardigan. And so if you want to get Srila Prabhupada's mercy and start thinking big and doing big, you could have darshan of that cardigan. I actually have it here with me now, and including the photos of it. And so if any devotee wants to see it and actually touch it, be, of course, careful with it. You can come and have this special darshan. I mean, Prabhupada things are normally in museums, you cannot touch this, but you cannot touch them. But today we want to make an exception from the rule. And so this is a special surprise for all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So, Premanande.
Hare Hare Bol.